This is the jpeg2RAW podcast. I'm Mike Howard. I'm broadcasting from the basement of Knob Studios here in sunny and hot Atlanta. jpeg2RAW is a photography podcast for the amateur photographer. You can find us on the web at www.knobstudios.com, and you can contact the show by emailing us at podcast@knobstudios.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Flickr, and Twitter by searching for jpeg2RAW, or just follow the links on our website. Okay, this is jpeg2RAW, show number 19. One more, we're hitting 20. And tonight we have Tim Kemperle, co-host, back. Tim?
Good evening, everybody.
I think we missed you the last 2 weeks.
Yes, you did.
And then we have returning guest, maybe more than that in the future, Kathleen.
I feel a session coming on about you asking me to be on the show again.
Well, you know, I was going to do this in a pre-show, but since we had so much trouble with the pre-show, I'll go ahead and do it right now. Tim, I've been working on trying to convince Kathleen to become a co-host.
Oh, you know, absolutely.
So she's got a number of things going for her. One, she's a girl. So it's a good, counter to us two guys.
Yeah.
Two, she shoots Canon, which is good because I shoot Nikon, you shoot Sony. So now we have three perspectives there.
So now I have to convert two people.
Great.
or I have to convert two. She's a pro, which neither one of us are.
Yes.
And she's a good photographer at that, too. And not that this is really a plus. I see it more as a minus, but it does give a different perspective. She uses a Mac.
Yes, I do.
So it's nice to have, the other side on there too.
Well, I get as close as I get to a Mac is my iPad.
Oh, somebody has an iPad who's not a Mac user?
Yeah, my son's not home. He doesn't know, but we got him one for Christmas.
Oh, he's going to be thrilled.
Yeah, we told him we're beating Santa again this year, so.
Yeah, that's awesome. I kind of want one for Christmas too, but I'm not sure Santa's going to deliver. We'll see.
Well, she also has something else. I didn't know this until recently, but she used to have her own radio show back in college.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I did. I had a radio show on campus where I did the morning show, and then because I was a broadcast major, I had to do an internship, and I got to do it with Clear Channel, and I was able to do a morning show with an oldies station. So it was me and this other guy who was the regular host, and I did it for, 5 or 6, 7 months, something like that. After my internship was over, they hired me. So it was a lot of fun. I loved every minute of it.
Well, see, that's all reasons why we really need you. And, your husband is a police officer, right?
He is.
Maybe if Tim will come speeding down here, then your husband can write a New Yorker a ticket.
Yes.
And that'll be our gift to him.
Okay.
For you to come on the show. Okay. How about that, Tim?
I'm on that. I know a bunch of people down in Atlanta. How about if I have them drive fast?
Well, I told you all out in chat before the show started that I was in the market to purchase something. This is a little off topic, but coming home tonight, my truck started. I have a '93 4Runner, and my truck started to smoke pretty bad from the engine right as I was getting off my exit. And it's bad when the cabin is filling up so much you can barely see out in front. So, and it just came out of the shop yesterday.
Mm.
So I think it lost all of its coolant, and now I need to work, try and get that home and into the shop to see if I can get it fixed. But it broke down right in front of a church, and I've only broken down one other time in my life, and that was on my very first date back in high school, and the car broke down right in front of a church.
Oh my goodness!
Somebody's trying to send me a signal.
Yeah, I guess so. He's going to listen, if you can't drive here yourself, I'm going to drop you off here.
although both times church was not in session. So
okay.
Anyway, so tonight we we're going to have Morgan on, but something came up, and Kathleen was going to be next week, so she graciously accepted changing to tonight. And we've been thinking about topics, but I have a few. Y'all can still think about that. What we're going to talk about. I have a few news stories. One of them by Steven. Steven is out there in chat right now, and he sent us. He sent us this news story, which is pretty cool. It's a Canon. What model is it? ES. What that says 1000D. Is there such a thing?
I've never owned it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well, apparently a firefighter was vacationing with his family and dropped it, lost it, something like that, in the ocean, and has spent a year at the bottom of the ocean until a diver was out there and just happened upon it and found the Canon camera. I got it there in chat right now. And of course, the camera and the lens are I think, no good at all. They're completely destroyed.
They're toast.
But the memory card, and it was an SD, a secure digital memory card, still had 50 pictures on it that the guy was able to retrieve out of the camera. And it gets better than that. He took the 50 images and posted them on Google Plus, and asked, "Can anybody help me find the owner of this?" And they ended up finding the owner. And I don't know if they returned the camera, but I believe they returned the photos.
I mean, that's just unbelievable that it would last through that. And the funny thing is if anyone drops their camera in the water, especially in the ocean like that, the reason they didn't go after it is because they know the lens, the camera, and everything about it is done.
Right. The salt water kills it pretty much instantly.
I mean, I worry about just taking my camera to the beach, about just the salt water hitting it, because I'm so nervous I'm going to mess something up.
I agree. Just that salt spray will kill a camera.
Well, the most durable thing in your whole camera is that memory card. Those memory cards are pretty durable.
Right.
So yeah, if you drop it in the water, if you drop it on the pavement, the one thing that's probably going to survive is that memory card. But this is pretty extreme. At the bottom of the ocean, I don't know if it says how deep that was, but still at the bottom of an ocean, and the ocean is salt water. It's been a long time down there, and to be able to recover those images is incredible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember seeing a couple of years ago, they did a test on like compact flash cards and SD cards and what it would take to destroy them. They had cars drive over them, trucks drive over them, cold, hot, water. Pretty much nothing destroys them. I mean, it's just a memory. It's not. I think what was the prior to compact flash cards? What were those? They were little
hard disk,
little hard drives within the compact flash card. I can't remember what they were called. And they would get destroyed because they had moving parts and no moving parts. And
that's right, especially in a secure digital. Those are even thinner and smaller than compact flash, and there's no moving parts, like you said. A micro drive.
That's it. I think the biggest problem with the SD cards, and I even have those micro SD cards, the size of them. I mean, how easy is it to lose one of those?
Oh, I know.
That's my biggest fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does both y'all's cameras shoot with the secure digital?
No, I have compact flash now. My next camera is going to be a SD card.
Mine's compact flash.
Mine's compact flash as well.
It looks like everybody's switching over to SD cards. I think that's going to be the way of the future.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Well, it's an interesting story, that they were able to find that person, and through Google Plus that they were able to find that person.
I know, that's just insane.
Yes, that's great. I mean,
gonna find them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's any any photos on there that were priceless to the guy or not, but it's still pretty neat that they were able to find it.
Yeah.
Then he's like, "Can I have my camera back?" You don't want it.
Yeah, I think I read that the guy was going to use it like as he might have cleaned it up a little bit, but use it more as like a coffee table, item or something like that. It's kind of
so the salt water really destroys it and just corrodes to pieces.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Kathleen, you mentioned something about the beach, and I was reading something about, I think, Burning Man. You ever heard of Burning Man? That it's kind of a big event that happens out in the desert somewhere out west. Is definitely not a family affair.
Okay.
It's definitely an adult type thing.
Uh-huh.
But one of the things, it's in the desert and there's just sand blowing everywhere, which you could have at the beach. And the one thing that I've heard, if you go to Burning Man, and this may hold a little bit to the beach, not quite so much unless it's really windy, is one, never take your lens off your camera.
Yeah, forget it.
Absolutely.
Because if you're at the beach or if you're in the desert, whatever lens you came with, that's the lens you need to use, because there's sand blowing all around. You do not want that to get inside your camera. And then two, if you happen to go to Burning Man, you definitely want to take a cheaper camera and a cheaper lens, because I've heard that even if you never take your lens off, there's still the fine particles get into the camera anyway.
Somehow, yeah. Okay, so that's the question: is what lens would you take?
What lens? Obviously, I'd want some kind of multi-purpose, maybe like a, something a little bit on a wide angle, maybe 28 to 200 or something like that.
Okay. What about you, Tim?
Yeah, I would most likely have my 16 to 105 on.
Okay. I'd hold strong at my 50 millimeter 1.4. Holding strong.
But really, would you really need the 1.4 at the beach? I mean, other than to blur out the background, you're not going to need it wide open for light. That's for sure. I wouldn't think, unless you're out at the beach during a sunset time.
Well, I think she's talking about Burning Man, right? Talking about Burning Man or beach?
Oh, I don't know. We're just saying in a location where you shouldn't be switching lenses, I think was the case.
Right. That's.
I think I'd probably just take it because it's what I'm most comfortable with,
Yeah. It's a good point that at Burning Man to bring something like the 50, because another reason is it's so cheap.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of when you said an inexpensive lens. It's not that expensive.
Yeah. Okay, but that's news story number one. News story number two is Google Plus related, and they have some prize going on. I think this is more for students. It's not necessarily for Tim or I. I don't think you're in college or anything, are you, Kathleen?
Oh, no, I'm way too old for that.
Yeah, you're younger than us. But the prize, let me go to the prizes. The prizes, if you are a photographer who's a kid who's trying to get started, the prizes are, top 100 entries get a Galaxy Nexus phone, which that's not bad.
Yeah.
The top 10 finalists get their work shown at some fancy gallery in London.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. And then the grand prize is let's see,
you get to go to London.
Yeah, you get to go to London.
+1, and then I think that you also get to pick a place where you want to go shoot with a pro photographer mentor coming with you and teaching you the whole way.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Wow.
I mean, forget being a student. I want to win.
Yeah, it's a really cool prize. I don't know when the deadline to enter is, but I don't think any of us are in the group that they'll let in.
What photographs are they looking for to enter? Anything that hits their fancy, or are they specific?
Yeah, I think there's categories. So if we go to the categories, there's me, whatever that is, images that best capture you, food, fashion, travel, action, street. Let me get this where you can see a little better. So there's a bunch of different categories. I guess action and sport are two different things.
So does one person from each category win, or there can't be? I mean, that'd be too many prizes to give out.
Let me count them. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so there's 10 categories. So that must be one winner from each category.
And then a grand prize out of all those winners, probably.
Yeah, I think that's only going to be one person that wins that one.
Yeah.
Is the way I'm reading that.
I got to do food photography once, and I would love to do it again. It was totally out of my wheel of normal photography, but I have a really good friend who came up with a website that y'all should check out. It's nurturebaby.com. I'll put the link in the chat. But so she was coming up with her website, and she wanted it to look professional right off the bat. And so she asked me to do all the food photography. And the whole website was dedicated towards baby food, which photographing food is a beast of its own. And then trying to photograph baby food, which is all pureed and mushed up, and trying to make it look interesting was a little crazy. But we had a lot of fun with it. I'd love to do it again. It was just totally different from what I normally do.
Yeah, I think food photography is harder than what most people think it is.
Yeah, I mean, I just approached it the same way I would any photo shoot. I use natural light and that sort of stuff. But I'm sure that the people who are professionals at food photography specifically may have taken a different approach. I don't know, but I had fun with it nonetheless. It was awesome.
Hold on one second, Kat. Can you get? They're saying they can't hear you out there. Can you hear me? I can hear now.
So I hear everybody fine, but
I can hear you guys. Can you guys hear us?
Yeah. Well, I can. I don't know about them.
Can you guys all hear us? Okay, good. Hey, Megan, give us the link to your chocolate food photography that you did, if you have it. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
We can show that there.
Yeah.
So I got the eligibility rules here, and you have to be 18 years or older, and enrolled in an undergraduate or graduate course at any higher education institute, college, something like that.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm out too.
Yeah, me too.
It's a bummer. That's a great prize.
That is really good.
Well, I would love to have somebody from our podcast win that.
Oh, yeah, I know. So if there's any students out there, go and enter.
What's his name? Ali. I can't remember the show, maybe 14, something like that. Who's on? He is entering a contest. Oh, and they actually had a photo that had won one of those daily things. Remember that? Was that 1150 pixels or something like that I showed in one of the shows a while back? He had an image that won one of those. Maybe I'll show it later, but he won something there, and he's trying to get on, what is that podcast? It's one of the ones that Leo Laporte does, the photography one he does.
Awesome.
They're holding a contest to get on that. It's a little bit bigger than our show.
Just a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you know Leo Laporte, but he is.
Come on, we're up to 13 people today.
That's right.
So now, what is this website that you wanted me to go to here?
Well, I just asked Megan. She did chocolate food photography, which I posted there, and then mine was a little bit further up. It was the nurturebaby.com where I did my food photography.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see yours.
I'll tell you, I was watching a TV show once, and it was probably on the Learning Channel or something. They showed how they do food photography and how the food is not cooked, or what you think you're seeing as a picture is not even close to accurate. Like they showed how they made a turkey, and she cooked the turkey for a half hour, and then she cut a piece of the meat open and then took a blow dryer to sear the meat on the inside, so it looked like it was a cooked turkey, even though it wasn't.
Oh, no way. That's cool. Yeah,
ice cream wasn't ice cream. It was like Crisco fat or something, because ice cream would melt while they're taking the picture.
Wow. When we did mine, my first son was, let's see, he was probably 8 or 9 months old. And so the girl who was doing the baby food, everything she made, we would photograph and then feed it to my son. He ate so much that day. So hers was cooked all the way through.
So Tim had brought up a good subject on another site that he and I have it upon. I think it's over on the homeservershow.com. And it's a good topic to be bringing up now, right before the holidays, and maybe people looking to buy a new lens or a new camera. And that is the thought of gray market cameras and lenses.
Yep.
I know, Tim, you've heard of it because you mentioned it.
I've heard of it, and I've dealt with it almost. And
Kathleen, have you heard of those?
You mean just off-brand? Is that what you mean by gray market?
No, it could be a Canon. But it
could be a Canon, and what the difference really is with gray market, and you'll see it on some websites. I know B&H Photo used to have it all the time, where you would have what's called the USA model and then the gray market model. And let's say one camera is selling for $1,500 for the USA, a gray market one might cost you only $1,200. But the problem with it is it does not come with a USA warranty. So if you have an issue with it, you cannot bring it back to Canon USA and have them fix it. They'll say it's not a camera meant for the US market. It'll be rejected, and you would have to send it overseas to get repaired. So any savings you had would be useless. So I've learned, in camera equipment especially, I have taken it upon myself, in my mind at least, to always go to either B&H Photo, Adorama, Amazon, I don't buy from off places, especially up here in the New York area. You go into Brooklyn, there's a lot of place, or Brooklyn, or even in Manhattan. You can see a lot of photo stores, but if a price seems too good to be true, it probably is. And
Yeah.
that's really where I go off of. And I bought all my recent equipment at B&H Photo because I know what I'm buying there. They stand behind, and their prices actually, since the internet came out, have really gotten competitive.
Yeah, I think the first thing to do would be look at like B&H, Adorama, Amazon, and those are kind of your low end prices. If you find something much below that, I'd be suspicious that it is gray market, because what some of those places that you talk about, that are on that are in Brooklyn, they don't tell you it's gray market. They hide that fact. So you're thinking, I got this great deal, and they might do a number of things. They might be selling you gray market, but two, they might also call you on the phone later and try and upsell you on some higher priced side things. And if you refuse to buy those things, suddenly the camera you ordered is back ordered, and you never actually get it.
Right, and or they may tell you that, well, it didn't come with a charger. It didn't come. It might have been just the body, literally
Yeah.
just the body, and now you're getting suckered in. And probably the best thing to do with that is, if you find a place like that, just type the name in Google and type the word review, and you will find horror stories a lot of time. How you get the phone call right after you place the order, and it's back ordered or whatever, and yeah, that wonderful price you had. You're lucky if you get the money back on your credit card, because they will charge it first.
Yeah, they will charge it first. My recommendation would be just stay away from gray market. But some people have done that because they say, I'm willing to buy this lens at the reduced price, and if it dies, oh well, I'll put my faith in the fact it's not going to die, and I won't have to have it repaired. Because, like you said, you can't get it repaired at the dealers. Canon, Nikon. I imagine Sony does the same thing.
Right.
You can't get them repaired in the U.S. You can't even pay them to repair it. They won't repair it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think it's too risky, especially when you're buying lenses that are in the $1,200 or $1,400 range. I mean, even $1,200, that's a really big risk.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't have money like that to throw around. If I'm making an investment, and I know I've been talking about buying that A77, and it's going to cost me $2,000. You know what? Saving $300 is not that important to me. I'd rather have something that I know is going to work for the next 3 or 4 years, and if I have an issue with it, Sony in the USA will take care of it.
Right. Right.
Yep.
I'm with you.
Yep. Okay. So that was that. Along those same lines, and something I was talking to another photographer about recently was some different apps for either your iPhone or for an Android phone, and there's a number of good ones out there. And I have this site here on DP Review, and DP Review is just an awesome site. It's got a lot of information. But one of the ones I like the best, and I think I got it from my phone. Let me go here down here and find it. Where is that? I just heard myself back. Oh, the one for Apple is called Photo Buddy.
I'm going to download it right now.
You do have to buy that one. Sorry.
I'll send you a bill. It's okay.
The one for Android. Oh crap! The one for Android costs more. All that talking. Look at this.
Look at that.
It's called Photo Tools Pro for Android. And what it allows you to do is the depth of field calculation, amongst a lot of other things. So the question was, if you have 4 or 5 people in your shot, what aperture should you be shooting at? Should it be f4, f5, something like that? And I think that may work in certain situations, but it's so dependent upon your distance to the subject, the lens you're using, what focal length you are on that lens if it's a zoom, and your aperture. So, one of the things when I first started shooting soccer, I had my 120 to 300 lens, and I was shooting at f2.8 because that's what it did. It went that low. and I never could get anything really in focus. And then I did the math and figured out that I had like, 6 inches of depth of field that was going to be in focus, and there was just no way I was going to get the kids, 6 inches of the kid to be in focus. It was never going to work. So this, depth of field thing, you'd put in there. My camera is this, so that they know the crop factor. My lens, or f not lens. Your what's it called? Your focal length, because you could have a lens that goes at different lengths. Your focal length, your aperture, and your distance to subject, and then it'll tell you here's how much is the depth of field, what's going to be in focus.
That's pretty amazing. The one for the iPhone also says it provides a grayscale gradient, so you can help set your white point on your photographs.
Oh, that's neat.
How that works. I mean, there's an app for that. I've never thought of Googling white balance app, but who knows? It might work. I'm going to try it out.
Yeah, very
There's
interesting.
Only 7 ratings on there, so there'll be 8 when I'm done.
So that brings up another question the person had is how do you set the white balance on your camera? And on my camera, I have a Nikon, so I'll talk about Nikon. And I don't know if we probably won't be able to show it very well, but I did bring up my camera, so maybe I can show it here. If I can find it. You guys talk amongst yourself until I...
I'm actually typing as we talk.
How come I'm not seeing updates on the live stream? Are you texting this whole time?
I'm not.
Were you chatting this whole time, Tim?
No, I haven't put anything there recently. I was actually in the show notes adding something.
Oh.
You guys are seeing in there right now, aren't you?
Yeah.
I just added something and I saw it, so there we go.
Okay. So on the back of my camera, there's a little button called white balance. And I can zoom in to show it even closer. Little button called white balance. And I would press that button and go to the preset mode. So it's going to have normal things like auto, sunny, cloudy, all those things. I'm going to press that button, turn my dial, and change it to the preset mode. And then it's going to blink the words PRE for preset.
Mm-hmm.
And what just happened there?
It's all black.
It is all black.
I'll tell you, I have not gotten into gray, setting the gray balance before the picture, and I know I've talked about it that I really need to. And
Are you guys
I
still
like the
hearing
idea
us?
of the Expo disc.
Here.
You like the Expo disc, Tim?
I have not used it, but I like the idea of it. I mean,
Yeah.
Have you had any experience with it?
I'm actually getting ready to order one because it looks really good to me as well. I'm not really having much of a problem with white balance if I'm outdoors. I just use one of the auto white balance presets or auto white balance. But when I'm doing newborns, I obviously can't take them outside right now in this weather. And so
Right.
I need to have a way to do white balance. And the gray card in my mind seems cumbersome because once I get the newborn posed, laying a card up against a baby just seems wrong.
Please hold this a second.
That's
Your
right.
hands don't work. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So
Just don't throw up on it.
So
the Expo disc.
why don't y'all explain the Expo disc? Because maybe some of the people out there don't know what it is.
You want me to do it or you want to take
I'll let you go, Kathleen, because I know only a cursory knowledge of it, and I don't think I could explain it.
Okay.
It looks like they may have lost. We're frozen on the screen.
Oh. Can you see us now?
We may be back.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. We're having a number of issues.
Serious Skype issues today.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is Skype. I'm looking at the thing that says it's got perfect streaming. The CPU is only being pushed about, well, I said that now, went up to 70%, but it's not being pushed that hard. It's been running around 20%. So who knows where the problem is. The stream is going in and out. Hopefully hopefully the recording is good.
Well, the Expo disc, the gist of it that I get is that it's something that you screw onto your lens, and it has almost prisms on the top, almost like a honeycomb. And so then you point it at your light source. You don't point it at what you're going to photograph. You point it at your light source and take a picture, and then use that picture to set a custom white balance in your camera. And then every photograph you take after that is affected by the settings you took with the Expo Disc. So it seems kind of neat, and it seems really, it doesn't seem as cumbersome as maybe a card would be in my case. Mike had told me at one point that he has a bunch of cards that are kind of laminated that you keep around your neck like on a lanyard.
Yeah, I wish I'd have had those ready. I have the gray card ready.
Okay.
But I have to pull out the other things that you mentioned.
Okay. That seems neat too. If you have subjects that are old enough to hold a card in your photograph.
Right.
That would.
I agree. It seems a much better solution than holding a card up there. And obviously, if the lighting changes in the meantime while you're there, you're probably going to have to do it again. But overall, it's probably going to give you a good starting point for when you get back to your post processing.
Right.
And it is in my other camera bag.
Of course.
Of course.
So, but what you're talking about there was it's 3 cards. I don't have a good example of a size, but maybe a little bit bigger than a credit card size, and it's on a lanyard, and it has a black, a white, and a gray. Out again.
Yeah, I think once I get my Expo Disc, I'm going to go ahead and see if there's some way to put it on something that I can wear around my neck, so I can take it off and on quickly.
Yeah, and what that is doing is not so much setting the white balance on the camera, but giving you a reference point for later on that you can use in post-processing to correct your white balance. The gray card can be used that way too, where you can I've had subjects where I'm outside shooting a late night softball game, and it's under the sodium lights or whatever, and I'll have the subject hold it up next to them, and I'll take a picture, and then later I'll do it in post-processing, fix the color. But with a gray card, often what I do is just throw it on the ground, and then take a photo, use that preset thing I was talking about earlier, and photograph, use the camera setting to set the white balance off the gray card. And then as long as the light doesn't change, your white balance is set.
Now, when you're taking your test shot of your card, are you filling the entire frame of your lens with the card, or are you just taking a picture of everything that's there?
I try and fill the entire frame with it. And it doesn't have to be in focus. It just needs to see the color. You want to make sure you're not standing over it and casting a shadow on it. You don't want to be doing that, but you want to try and fill the frame with it. And you want it to be in the light that you're shooting in.
Right.
Now, one thing, if you're in like a gym, is some of those, you may not know this, but some of those lights are pulsating, and the color is changing as they pulsate.
Oh, really? Oh, you mean like a sports gym? Those whatever those lights are called. Not floodlights, sodium.
Sodium lights. Yeah, and the problem there is you don't see it with your eye. You don't know it's necessarily
right, because it happens so fast, right?
But if you were to set your camera on, set it on a preset white balance, and then take a bunch of photos real fast, you would see changes in the white balance.
So in that scenario, an auto white balance would probably be the best option you have, because it's going to change every time you shoot.
Good gosh, we just lost the
stream again.
Yeah, it went to black again. This may be an issue with live stream itself.
Yeah.
Can you guys still hear us out there? Can y'all hear us out there? There's a delay, so we have to wait for the delay. Kat, I don't know if...
Megan didn't hear us in and out according Desiree.
Yeah, my guess is it's something with live stream itself.
We're not going to convince Kathleen to become a co-host if this keeps happening.
I'm out.
Well, and if it's live stream, there's not much I can do except for switching to another provider like Justin TV or something like that, which, that's an option. Because I often wonder what happens if we go to do this and live stream is out. Because right now we have a backup option if Skype was completely out. We could go to Google Plus.
Mm-hmm.
but we don't have an option for the streaming. So it's something I need to work on, and maybe just in TV and try to go that way.
Okay.
Because right now the video just looks, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, Kathleen, you were asking about would auto white balance be the best thing in those stadium lights? I don't think so. I think auto white balance is going to really have trouble in a gym. And the other thing it's going to do is it's going to keep changing the color balance. So I would rather, if you don't want to use it off a gray card or something like that, I would set it at a set amount so you know you have a more consistent white balance all the time. Otherwise, I think you're going to have both the sodium lights changing and your auto white balance changing, and you're going to have
Kelvin temperature.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
I guess that probably would make sense, because then once you go back, you can change everything to one setting. Out again.
Yeah.
No sound or video.
Okay.
I guess everybody's going to have to download the show afterwards and re-listen to it, because that'll be perfect.
Well, we hope.
I'm assuming your server is recording perfectly at this
Oh
point.
yeah, it says perfect streaming. Yeah, 23% CPU. And I don't want to go too long tonight because my car's still sitting somewhere stranded. I got to go and try and get.
It's okay. I think my husband towed something a few minutes ago.
Ha 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 ha.
Actually, he gave it a ticket first.
Yeah.
Maybe they think I'm just inside having a long prayer.
That's right.
So
I'll tell you, my only issue with the Expo disc, though, I cannot figure out why it is so expensive.
It's like $70.
At least. I mean, some of them are even more than that. I mean, it goes up to $100. I'm like, that's an awful lot of money. And that's really the reason I haven't bought it this time, because I'm not so sure it will work. And then it's spending a lot of money. So I'll let you test it out. That sounds good.
All right, great.
well, you know, the other thing with the Expo disc is you've got to get it the right size for your lens.
Right. So if you switch lenses, and see, my purpose is to specifically use it for newborns. And when I'm doing a newborn, I have my 50 millimeter 1.4 on every time for the entire photo shoot. I don't switch it.
Out again.
Yeah. Tell you what, I'm gonna try something here. I hate to do this because then it's heck to piece it back together. But if we're having such trouble, as soon as it comes back, I'm going to tell everybody that I'm going to start and stop the stream again. We don't have to do anything. They don't have to do anything. But they're going to lose it for a second, and then they have to hit play again. All right, guys, while we still have it, I'm going to start and stop the stream. You just stay there. You may have to restart it, but I don't know. Let me just start and stop it and see if this helps.
Yeah, Kathy, I've been looking at that Expo disc for quite a while, and I have never pulled the trigger on it, and I'm definitely considering getting it.
Yeah, there's another one that I want to talk about too once we get the stream going again that I've seen.
The stream should be back up now, and actually it looks like it's doing really good. So,
can you guys see us?
Can y'all see us yet? Is it back for everybody?
Well, they should see us, but can they hear us?
Can you see and hear us?
Yep, Steven sees us.
All right, let's see if that holds.
Okay. The other one, I'm trying to remember what it was called, and I might have to Google it here in a minute so I can tell you what it's called. Maybe someone in chat knows. But it's a lens cap that has a white dot in the center that you're supposed to use to set your white balance. Is anyone familiar with that one?
No, I hadn't heard of that one.
Okay, let me see.
It's is it called dot line white balance lens cap or something along those lines?
Does it look like a lens cap with a white plastic dot in the center?
See, it's coming up now. Let me zoom. I can't tell from the picture. It's called white dot or dot line.
Yeah.
Can you put it out in chat?
Dot line corp. This should be it.
No, that one that you're looking at.
No, that's not it.
That has a really large white dot. The one I'm talking about, the white dot doesn't look like it's more than a, I don't know, inch diameter.
I've been blocked by my own Windows Live family safety from this site.
I didn't send you there. Okay, it's called Ba Lens 77, or I guess Ba Lens White Balance Lens Cap. BALENS.
Do you have it where you can put a link out there, Kathleen?
Yes.
Oh, somebody put it out there.
Oh, yeah.
Mary Mac Photos.
Aw. Thanks, Mary. That's my best friend. Okay, so there's a link to it. It's kind of weird looking. I mean, I just can't see how accurate that would be.
I see. Oh, wow, yeah.
You see how tiny the little white part is?
It literally is a lens cap, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a lens cap. So you wouldn't need another lens cap, which is kind of interesting. And it's on here, it's less expensive than the Expo disc would be, but it's still $50. That's shipping and stuff in there.
And you would still need one for each camera, right?
Yeah, because you would need a lens cap for each camera.
Yeah. For each lens size.
Each lens
That's
size,
right.
yes.
That was the problem that Mike was saying with the Expo disc, is that you need an Expo disc for each lens size that you have.
Right, and yeah.
You're getting more and more discouraged, aren't you?
Yep. Well, I normally shoot with one lens anyway, so, and the new, I gotta see what the new lens from Sony is. It's
Tim, that's why I say just use the Great Card.
I'm sure that's why people use it.
It's cheap, and I'm sure there's a way to use a Great Card with newborns. You could just have mom stand there and hold the Great Card in front of the baby and then zoom in and get your shot. So maybe I should try that out first before dropping the $70 on an Expo disc.
Well, the good thing is the camera lens that I'm looking at would have a 72 millimeter lens filter, and I know my 85 1.4 is also a 72, so that's good. I know my 100-400 is nowhere near that. That's a much smaller opening, probably like a 62.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people forget about. And I've stopped my video, by the way, because it would seem to be causing issues. So maybe we'll have less issues with the video off. But I think a lot of people forget about, and that's my son standing next to me in the little photo there.
I always wanted to ask you who that was.
I work for a national restaurant chain as the controller, an accountant. But once a year, we, all the officers of the company, go out and work in a restaurant at least once a year. And this day I was working Christmas morning. And I'll do it again this year. And my son, who was 15 back then, he'll be 16 into December. He came with me for the first time, and this is before the rush started. I had somebody take a photo of us.
Yeah, really.
I'm also going to call that the before photo of me. Apparently, I'm still stuck at that before photo, but eventually, I'm hoping to show more of an after photo.
Okay.
But Tim, I think a lot of people forget about white balance, and what they do is they come away with photos that are odd colors or whatever else. And if you're shooting a JPEG, because I hear some people still do that.
Hey.
If you're shooting JPEG, those color issues are a little bit more difficult to handle and to deal with.
Yeah. Because
I know one of the gyms that my son swims at, it has a weird green cast, and I showed oh no, he didn't. Yeah. Somebody just said that in chat.
Because of the whole JPEG comment.
Yeah. So I had showed some photos a few weeks ago about what a photographer had done. Just not a pro like Kathleen, but just another average shooter like me. And they had come away with green. Everything was green, had a terrible green cast, and they didn't know how to get rid of it. So they just posted it online. And for I think a lot of the stuff that like that, the parents of the kids were just happy to see photos of their kids competing, and it was no big deal.
Right.
But if you're wanting to get a better looking photo, and especially if you're a pro, white balance is an issue. And I imagine, Kathleen, you have to worry about skin tones a lot.
Yeah, and that I don't know about everyone, but for me, and I would go ahead and venture to say most people, you don't think about white balance until it becomes a problem. And for me, I was coming home and being really excited about what I got, and then pulling it up on my screen and being like, oh, I'm going to have to fix this, and then would be in front of my computer for hours fixing it. And
Right.
so I just don't want to do that anymore. You know, I want to get it right out of the lens. That's always my goal, to limit my time in front of my computer. I had a great friend of mine say, you do not make money sitting behind your computer. You make money being behind your lens. And so you have to get it right out of the lens, or you're just wasting your time trying to fix it in post-processing.
Yeah, that's true. It really is true, because I mean, you could spend a lot of times behind the computer, and if you're a pro, you're not making money doing that.
No, you're not. It's just, I mean, I remember spending easily, 4 to 5 hours editing one photo shoot. And I can't ever believe that I just invested that much time into one photo shoot. And getting it right out of the camera, combine that with setting your rates so that it reflects where you're going to put your energy into your business is a really good key. I used to give everyone, all of their images on a disc. And so I would be the one picking the best, I would advertise the best 24 images. And so I was going through, and I would become so emotionally involved with these pictures that I could never narrow it down to 24. So I would always be editing, 40 pictures for my clients and giving them all in a disc. And I finally stopped that. And now I do exposure edits only if they even need exposure edits, which most of the images do not anymore. I will fully edit out 1 or 2 images, and then I put everything on a proofing gallery where my clients come on and they proof the best 20 to 30 images, and then they purchase only the ones that are their absolute favorites. And so, let's say they get, a 10 image package, then I'm only editing full out 10 images. And it has really cut back my editing time versus trying to edit 40 or 50 photographs from every single photo shoot. It was getting kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Great idea. So, one question somebody might have is, when should I worry about white balance in setting it? Because, I think a lot of people shoot an auto white balance and never really think about it. And if you're outdoors, in good sunlight, auto white balance is going to be so close to right that it probably will work.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you're inside, probably inside just about anywhere, even with studio lights, but inside like that, or sometimes in late afternoon, early morning, some of those times, those might be the good times to use some method for white balance.
Well, and I even know for me, through the cameras that I've owned through the years, each one of them has leaned towards a different temperature in auto white balance automatically. Like the camera that I own right now in automatic white balance still shoots pretty cool. They're not blue photos, but they're closer to on the cool side than they are on the warm side. And I like for my images to be a little bit warmer, have more of those golden yellow tones. And so I'm always adding that in post-processing. So, I mean, even outside, if you have it in auto white balance and you're still not getting what you like, you're still going to maybe want to try and do a custom white balance with a gray card or something like that.
I have a tendency to just set mine to, I think it's 5,600 Kelvin, and just I leave it there most of the time. Mm-hmm. And then I can, in post-processing, because I shoot in RAW, I can, in Lightroom, easily change the whole shoot.
Are you shooting with flash?
I do sometimes, yeah.
Okay. I heard a good Kelvin temperature for outdoors is between 6250 and 6850. I was going to try and give that a shot with some of my next sessions to see how that felt for me. And that's quite a bit warmer than what you're shooting at. It
is. And I think, like you said, unfortunately, even though it sounds like a real precise number, 5,600 or 6,800, between different cameras, they may give a little bit different color temperature.
They do. And I actually have a question. This is something I've always wondered.
This is for you, Tim.
I've noticed a difference with the weather and how it affects the color of my images. Like in colder weather, I always have cooler pictures. And in warmer weather, I always feel like I have warmer images. And I don't know if that has anything to do with it or if I'm just crazy, but I, for some reason, feel a difference whether it's cold outside or warm outside, how my images turn out.
Maybe your people are just blue from being cold.
Maybe they are, and that's what it's falling from.
I don't know. Maybe there is something with the where the sun is at in the hemisphere or whatever it is. Maybe there's something there's up to that. We need to look that up. I don't know.
Megan agrees. See, I'm not crazy.
Megan agrees. Yes.
Scientific about it, but I've always felt that was happening.
See, and I think girls see or women see more colors than a guy does, because half the time I don't see a problem with the white balance, but I know it's probably off, and it's probably my eyes that are fooling me as to what the white balance should be on a picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I can see
I always remember when I was a kid, if you're talking to a boy, he'll say, yeah, there's 12 crayons, and the girl will be like, well, no, there's periwinkle. It's not this color, or it's whatever colors there are. A girl will talk, and boy will be like, no, that's blue, red, and green. And they'll have like 20 different colors in between there, and it's like, how the heck did that happen?
Yeah.
Oh.
Now I lost what
that probably sounded really bad.
It's all right. It's all right. We're just happy that your wife dresses you, probably.
She does. Yes, she does. Because I've come home from work and she said, tell me you didn't go to work like that.
No, I changed before I came home. Of course I went to work this way. I think we talked about this last time Kathleen was on, is calibrating your monitor.
Oh, yeah. Something else is on my to-do list.
Yeah, so all this talk about white balance, if you're then later editing on a monitor that's not calibrated,
right,
you're asking for trouble.
Preaching to the choir.
So, I think last time you were on, we talked about the device Tim uses, the device I use. I use the Spider. Tim, I don't know what you use.
The Huey Pro. And
those are devices, the hardware devices that you actually, put up against your monitor and does a reading and all that. There are some software based, that are free, and maybe I have to look some up now that I mention it and put them on chat.
I like free.
Yeah, it's not going to get you nearly as good, nearly as precise, but if you're coming from a monitor that has never been calibrated, it's better. It's better than nothing, because it'll help you set some things like the contrast and the brightness and that kind of stuff.
Yes, more info on those monitor thingies, says Mary.
Well, Mary, one thing I noticed when I did my monitor calibration, before I calibrated and I went out and bought the Huey Pro, all my pictures were coming out printed dark, and I couldn't figure out why. When I calibrated my screen finally, it showed the before and after, and the screen was so much brighter than what it should have been. So now I'm looking at it, and it's not coming out the same way printed. So really, if you're going to try and print something, that's where you're going to see the difference. And it definitely helped in what I was doing afterwards.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I mean, I think it only cost $75 to $100. It's got a little stick here that I sits in front of my computer, and it actually measures the light whenever I turn the light on or if something changes. So it allows for the monitor to adjust to the lighting changes. So if my son comes down and changes the lighting, or if you're sitting in a room with light outside, I mean, right now I sit in a basement and there's no external light really here where I am. It's just the overhead lights that I have. It's going to adjust the screen to that, which I think is pretty good for me. And I have to recalibrate the screen every 2 weeks. It forces me to do it.
Okay.
And it takes about 3 minutes to calibrate.
I'm Googling. I'm seeing quite a few different software versions of it.
And I got up in chat. I got the one I use is the Spider 3.
Okay.
This is at B&H Photo, and it looks like it's $88.99.
I'll be adding this to my Christmas list.
And it's sort of like Tim's. You just put it up against the monitor, it does a reading. That way you don't. For Tim and I, who may not have the same color capabilities as Kathleen, this thing does a lot of the work for us. And it just connects to your computer through a USB port.
Correct.
I like that.
And yours is 1 penny less than mine on B&H.
There you go. Save some money.
We talk about B&H a lot. We got to get them to be a sponsor of our show.
I tried. They denied us.
Oh, wow.
Amazon and Adorama accepted.
Awesome.
They're a little too.
I was just at B&H last Wednesday, so I'll have to stop by there again.
Yeah. Either that or we'll have to start shopping at Adorama.
Yeah, I say sponsor, but what they are is they have something called an affiliate program, and that's a good topic to bring up, Tim. Is we have a link, I think, right below the chat, and I would ask you not to click on it. Don't click on it right now, because it'll take you to another page, and you'll lose the live stream. That is a Google ad that you put on your page, and I was trying to make it where if you click on it, it opens another tab or another window. You really can't modify that ad. They don't let you modify that ad. But in other places, we have an Amazon ad or an Adorama ad, and if you click on that and go to their site and then buy anything, it doesn't have to be camera, whatever, the show gets a small commission from Amazon or Adorama, and at no additional cost to the individual. So you as the individual will still go through the same process of buying and dealing with Amazon or Adorama and no additional cost, but we would get a small credit.
Well, that's nice.
So now that you brought those up. Well, I didn't intend for this to be a whole white balance show, but that's kind of how we've made it. Was there anything else that we want to talk about? I know, Kathleen, you and I had talked about this other photographer's questions, and I think we hit on the main ones. There's another one that I'm missing?
I don't think so.
I thought there was something else. I know we had the aperture question about depth of field.
Right.
And we probably didn't go into that enough.
Shutter speed. And we were talking about how, everyone says that they want their images, tack sharp is the term, which I'm not even sure what that is.
Oh, that is
sharp is the end of a tack, I think. But anyways, I've always personally tried to keep my shutter speed at 125 because someone told me, back in the day that you never want to go below 125 with children. And so I just always tried to keep it at 125. But every once in a while, when my lighting situations are really low, I've been known to, go down to about an 80. And then sometimes I don't feel like my images are just, right on sharp. And so one thing that you suggested was that always making sure that your shutter speed is 1.5 times your focal length. Right. So with my 50 millimeter, I would need to be at 125, which is where someone had told me to stay, but I had been going lower because I'm a rebel. And I think that some people can go lower if they're super, still. But with me running after kids in some photo shoots, that's just not going to work.
Yeah, I think that's a general guideline. If you are somebody who can hold your camera really steady, then or if you have vibration reduction in the camera or the lens, you may be able to do better than that. If you're not very steady, you may not be able to do that good. You may have to go 2 times your focal length. So right. I think it's something that each individual is going to have to figure out for themselves. But it's important to know that because you'll get to a point where it's not only the motion of the subject, but it's your own motion that's causing the blur.
Right.
So right. For me, I try and stay around 2 times focal length, but I'll go 1.5. Often too. But I try not to go much below that.
Yeah.
The other thing you're talking about tack sharp, and the question that this person had was, do I have a camera problem, a lens problem? What is going on because I'm not getting sharp images?
Right.
And unfortunately, it could be either one. It could be the camera, it could be the lens, it could be the combination of the two, or it could even be both. But
right.
To narrow this down and figure out which one it is, one of the methods, and I'll put this into the show notes, is you get as a printout. The guy has on his site, he has this printout you do, and it's got all these different lines on it or whatever. You place this piece of paper, you print it out and place this piece of paper somewhere. And I think you have to have it at an angle. And then you put your camera on a tripod. That way you make sure that it's none of your movement that's causing it. And you focus on the center spot on that printout. And then when you focus on that, take a photo of it, you should be able to see what's in focus, what's not in focus. And you'll be able to tell, is your camera actually getting focus, or is it back focusing or front focusing?
Yeah.
And if it's doing front focus or back focus, you probably want to try some different lenses to see, is it the camera or is it the lens? And then ultimately you may end up having to send either or in to get fixed.
Well, I have the Canon 5D Mark II, which is rumored to have focusing issues. So I've been interested to do that test myself and just kind of see. Not all of them have had issues, but I know that a lot of people have had issues with focusing with that camera.
Yeah, it's often hard to tell if you're in an environment, like sports or,
Right.
photographing
Is it the
kids.
action that's causing it, or is it just back focusing?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, and then we were talking about depth of field a little bit earlier, and having that depth of field calculator was great. But, sometimes during photo shoots, you don't always have access to stopping and using a depth of field calculator before you move on. And so just for a good rule of thumb, I've heard you never want to take your aperture lower than the number of people that are in your photograph. So if you're photographing 5 people, your aperture needs to at least be at 5 or above.
That's a good simple rule of thumb.
It just kind of, just a quick rule of thumb. So if you don't have time to actually sit and do the scientific method of it, you're at least getting close.
I like that.
I wonder how that would hold up. If you're doing in an environment that is fairly normal, let's say your distance to the subject is fairly normal.
Uh-huh.
If you're always shooting with the same lens, doing a lot of shooting with the same lens, and maybe your distance to the subject is within the same range, it might be good to just look that up and say, what is my depth of field here?
That's a good thing, because now I'm going to have that thing on my phone, so I know what my rule of thumb has been. I'm going to see how close it is to what the depth of field calculator is telling me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I might be almost giving myself tougher parameters to photograph in. Because if you're trying to keep your aperture higher than the number of people in your shot and trying to keep your shutter speed 2.5 times the focal length of your lens, if you're in a low light situation, you might be completely screwed.
Yeah, you might.
And the depth of field calculator might be giving me a little bit more leeway with certain things.
Right. You can always add some more light.
Can always add light, which is hard to do when you're a natural light photographer.
It is, and light adds such complexity to the shot too.
Yeah. And I'm actually interested in learning how to use maybe one softbox for my newborn sessions, but we'll see. Might be jumping into that.
One of the other things that we're talking about is that somebody might try the method of focusing on the eye, getting sharp, and maybe they even zoom in, get sharp focus on the eye, then zoom back out and recompose. And one of the sites I was on, I need to look this up, shows why that may not work all the time. And I think it is because when you focus on the eyes, it's creating a plane that goes parallel, right? Like this, if you can see me, that's in focus. If that person is leaning backwards when you recompose, it's not gonna work right. If you move at all, it's not gonna work right, because there's gonna be that plane that's in focus, and that plane may have moved as you remove the camera or the lens.
Well, I have a question also. I think depending on the lenses you have, unless you have a professional lens where the focusing ring doesn't move while you're zooming in and out, most of the lenses or more of the amateur type lenses, the non-$1,000 lenses, the focusing will change as you're zooming. So you can't even do that. You can't lock that focus, because when you zoom back, it's going to change the focus on you.
Yeah, I've never done it where I've zoomed in and out. I have focused on my subject and then push that back button and then recompose the shot, like move to the left or to the right or up or down. But I've never zoomed in and out.
I'll put that link in the show notes again too, about how that it doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just, here's the things you need to know that could cause a challenge with that focus on the eye, then recompose. Because I think a lot of people do that. I've done that, and sometimes it doesn't work, and you're wondering, why didn't that work? I focused on the eye.
Right.
And this article will help understand maybe a little bit why that doesn't work sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Something I wanted to mention earlier, when you pulled up the chocolate photography, that was by Megan, who's in chat. That was not mine. I just wanted to make sure that I gave her credit for that.
Yep, that was Megan.
Yeah, mine was, I'll put the link up there again. There it is.
Nurture Baby. Okay. And as a side note, a friend of mine just returned from Thailand last week. And as we have talked about in the past with the flooding over there, he said they're still having the issues. There are still factories underwater over there. So camera equipment from both, I think it was Canon, Sony, as well as hard drive manufacturers are having some substantial issues with production.
It's
I know
so
hard drive. They're talking about a 60% drop in production on hard drives and cameras. Sony has moved their factory to a factory that was making, I think, clock radios is now going to be making the cameras.
Wow, that is crazy.
Or car stereos. That's what it was, not clock radios. It was something to do with stereos. So they had some serious issues with 10 feet of flooding. Over 14,000 factories were submerged. So
wow.
a lot of technology was in that area apparently.
Wow. Yeah, that's sad.
So
Very sad.
Kathleen, this is your site?
No, it's a good friend of mine. Her name is Kristen Babb, and she's the owner of this site and this company. It's called nurturebaby.com, and the website is dedicated to helping moms learn how to make homemade baby food, so they can cut down on costs because baby food gets so expensive, and so they can have some nutritious value to the food without having all the preservatives and stuff that you get in the food that comes in the little jars. It's a really great site. It has super easy recipes, and when she was starting to launch her business, she asked me to do all the photography for the website. So that's her daughter. And then the little boy that you see is my son.
Yeah, he does look familiar.
Yeah, we had them there stuff in their mouths as we were doing the photo shoot. So talk about multitasking, being a mom and photographer and small business owner at the same time between she and I. And the neat thing about this website is it just got picked up by the same company that does the Pioneer Woman. So if you've heard of Pioneer Woman, all of her advertising that's on there, they just picked up nurturebaby.com. So get ready to see big things from Nurture Baby. It'll be really cool.
And all these photos are yours?
All these photos are mine. Yep. Yep.
Oh, very interesting. Yes.
Yeah. Something totally different from what we had done before. And as you can see, we had to get really creative to make pureed baby food look interesting.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of fun.
All right. Well, we probably should start wrapping this up so I can go deal with my car and get out of here before we have problems with the stream anymore. I thank everybody for hanging out. Thank you, Kathleen, for coming back.
Thanks for having me.
And, you need to think about, we can talk to your husband if you want us to.
I'm thinking of it. I just want to make a decision after the holidays.
Sure. And in the future, talking about the holidays, we have Morgan next week. We have Morgan next week.
Awesome.
We have Rachel, I think, the week after. Yes. Rachel the week after. And then, Tim, I think we don't have any set up for week before Christmas and week of Christmas, but we'll do something for those weeks.
Okay.
And we have to talk about whether we'll end up canceling one of those or not. We did have a show last week. It was in a really weird time. The in-studio guest was my mom.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And, my little office is not designed for in-studio, so that was a little chaotic. And even though I put a sign on the door and told everybody we're doing a podcast, no one enter, and the sign says, do not knock, do not enter. Within 2 minutes, my dad's opened the door. What's going on in here?
Did you read? Did you listen?
What is wrong with you? You hadn't been down in the basement in 2 days.
He wanted to be on camera.
Yeah, we had a good little interview with my mom. Is
that show published yet?
It is not. The holidays has also pushed me way back.
Yeah, it does for everybody.
So hopefully I can get caught up tomorrow night unless I'm car shopping.
Yeah. Oh, you poor thing.
I'm hoping to get another 2 to 3 years out of my car.
Yeah, well, mine's a 93, so she's on her last legs.
How many miles you have on it?
225.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get to 200,000 in my car.
Yeah. All right. Well, Kathleen, what's the deal with next week? Are you?
Let's do it.
Okay. So Kathleen's with us next week. as like tonight, you this was more of a host and a guest, right?
Right. Sure.
So that's we have her back next week as a host. That's what I'm trying to get her to be. Is I think it'd be good to have a 3-person team, and then we'll talk again after the holidays.
Kathleen, this is how it started on me also.
I know, Tim. Pulling you in.
I'm sneaky.
Yeah.
Although I'm announcing what I'm doing, so how sneaky is that? And then I forgot to mention with Rachel's appearance on December 13th, she's going to be giving away one of her workshops. So we're going to do a little contest. I'm working on that, and as soon as I let Rachel look at it and she is okay with it, we'll publicize that and we'll start getting people to enter the contest and win that. And then in January, we have another guest coming that's going to do a giveaway. So I won't announce that quite yet. Let's get past the Rachel one, and then we'll announce that. But it's going to be a really good giveaway with a really good guest.
Yes, it will. Fun time.
And Kathleen's already committed to at least doing that show.
Yes, I'm chomping at the bit for that show. That's really exciting.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys out in chat, and thank you, Kathleen. And
thank you, everybody.
Tim.
Appreciate it.
If you two will hold on for 1 second, chat. I'm going to kill the stream. So we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.